Hey everyone, welcome to our Tex-Trek first reactions for the Strange New World Season 2 finale. Is everyone want to go around and introduce themselves?
Hey guys, I'm Braxton. I'm the only person who has their blue sky up and not their Twitter, but
I'm same on Blue Sky and Twitter, but I don't check my
Same.
Blue Sky as much. I'm Michelle. How are you?
I am Stanley, also the same everywhere. Only Stans 85 on most socials. If you search on OnlyFans, you won't find me yet. I don't know.
Hey, I'm Rachel. Also, Drama884, basically everywhere, including like social media things that don't exist anymore. So
Your MySpace. Yeah.
I,
You're not old enough for
guess,
MySpace, are you?
Who's in your top
I
8?
am old. First off, I am old enough for MySpace. Second off, technically that does still exist, so I guess that's out there somewhere, which is concerning. Like, no one needs to see those photos of me.
My apologies. I don't mean to derail this. I know we've got a lot to talk about.
No, everyone thinks I'm way younger than I am, but I turned 30 this year. So I am younger, but I did have MySpace. I guess first thoughts on the episode for everyone as I go one.
You know, I thought that this was a really good episode. I actually watched it in halves. I watched the first 33 minutes this morning before work, and then I watched the last 22 minutes or 21 minutes, or maybe 20 minutes. Just now. And I thought it was great. Like, I thought the first 30 minutes, I was actually kind of bored, but it was just all set up, and then the last 20 minutes just really hit like gangbusters. Nurse Chapel has actually been, I think, my favorite character for season 2, especially the second half. Like, I don't know. I feel like she's had some really good storylines, and Jess Bush has acted those storylines really, really well. Like, I just love how resourceful she is. That scene when her and Spock were fighting the adult Gorn, like when I saw the adult Gorn, when like Nurse Chapel was trying to make her escape, I was like, ooh, girl. Like, so I thought that this was a really good episode. I think that it ended really, really well. And I was surprised that it left us on a cliffhanger like this. I was like, withdraw, withdraw, withdraw. And then it's like, to be continued. But yeah, I thought it was super exciting. I really liked the payoff of the adult Gorn. I think that they were worth the wait. Good episode.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a good episode. Not my favorite of the season. I thought it was a good finale and a good but not great cliffhanger. I tweeted the Will Riker face from Best of Both Worlds last night when I watched it. It wasn't quite that level for me, but it was a good cliffhanger. I thought there were some great moments that moved certain stories along, relationships, literal and figurative. The visuals and the performances, as always, were stunning. What they were able to do with the Cayuga was tragically beautiful. Shout out to the VFX team for sure. I've got, as always, plenty of little annoying nitpicks because that's how I show my love. But I especially loved Chapel and Battelle in this episode. I love that Captain Battelle wasn't just a plot device for Pike finally. And speaking of Pike, I love that Captain Pike is not awesome, but Anson Mount is. That's the way I'm thinking of it. Anson Mount is fantastic, but Pike at multiple times these last 2 seasons has been a little naive at times. This episode, he's been a little like, I get that he's torn between orders and his people, etc. But like, he was so indecisive today, like way more than any other captain we've ever seen. And I like that. I like that we're getting a different kind of captain who's not always perfect, even if his hair is. So those are my top thoughts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it makes him like feels like a real person by not. What about everyone else?
Go for it, Ken. Oh, you're still muted.
Oh, Ken, I think you're muted somehow.
Oh, I said hello, everybody. Actually, it's probably better if I'm muted for what I'm going to say.
Hey, Ken. How are you?
Hey, Ken.
Well,
he's still here. So how's the TV?
No. This wasn't a TV breaking kind of thing.
Good.
So I actually, I liked it for what it was, and I thought that it was. I thought it was very good at points, and I thought other things were a bit of a stretch, right? So, first of all, one of the challenges of having characters that we know live, you don't want to anchor a big dramatic does she live or die on a character that you know has to live. So I think that was part of the challenge where it came to Chapel. It was nice to sort of see Spock getting all emotional again, but in a sort of cringy kind of way. And I thought that, it was interesting that they were able to use the backlot from the TV show Reacher to do the planet, which is what they did with the Amazon show Reacher. That's what that backlot was. I thought it was very creative, very Return of the Archons kind of strategy to use the backlot in that kind of a way. The Gorn, like I've read in a couple of reviews today, this whole concept of the fact that the TOS people did not know the Gorn in Arena, how the heck they get to that, and that whole thing I think is basically thrown out at this point. There's no way that they can square that circle. Maybe they can, but I don't know how they're going to do it. So if you forget about that and you forget about trying to lock onto TOS canon, then you can let that go. And speaking of TOS canon, I think that Starfleet must only have a few hundred people in it because we've met yet another TOS character in this episode. The guy who is playing Scotty, I think is great. I think it was fun to see him, and I have to admit that I sort of let out a bit of a yelp when I said that's got to be Scotty. So that was kind of fun, and so the moment of that being really fun was like, okay, but again, what happened to the new, right, with Strange New Worlds? Why do we have to keep going back to the TOS characters, the TOS creatures, aliens, all that kind of thing? Having said all that, I think that overall, I think that the structure of the episode was pretty good. There were definitely some weird things, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, as we go deeper. I did love that Pelia was the first to call him Scotty in the episode. I love that, Stan. I love the fact that, Pelia, again, had some great lines. The line about, if you would have answered that question, I would have given you an A+. I was thinking about you during this episode, Stan, because I think Una had a hell of a lot more to do in this episode. And I thought that, she lived up to what she should be a little bit more in this episode than she had in the past. And I'm sure lots of people thought about me when it came to, TOS and canon and Scotty and all that sort of stuff. So there you go.
Awesome. So I rewatched Arena before the finale just to kind of get my bearings on maybe Ken's point of view a little bit. And honestly, when I was watching this episode, and this kind of goes to Jill's point in the chat, I felt like Pike was very much starting in a Kirk place of anger and just going after the Gorn. And I felt like he was moving to the Kirk at the end of the episode. Like he was getting there. He was telling Patel, maybe we have to try to talk to them. Like he kind of was starting to see the diplomatic side of this, especially when it was shown that the Gorn, like the younglings, weren't attacking each other. They were doing something different, that maybe not all Gorn are the same, or maybe, and I still can see Arena happening here. I think that Spock was very Spock in this episode. I felt a lot of Nimoy here. I felt like this was a more controlled angst that I liked with Spock. I agree with Chapel being in danger. I was like, well, I hope no one else is like hiding in that ship. that's about to be thrown into there, because I mean, all we care about is Chapel, because she's our girl. But like, listen, somebody else could have been under something, waking up as they were hurtling it into the planet.
Too bad for them.
So, that was a little concerning to me, but I'm like, come on, they can't Vrvil Patel. It's too obvious. I don't know if they will. I have to say the cliffhanger thing, best of both worlds, obviously, kind of vibes. I loved Stan's post. I also posted a Will Riker one, but it was not from best of both worlds. It was just like, swell. Like, thanks to the, I don't know what acronym they are, the AMPTP or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're not going to get a conclusion to this for probably 2 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And that is the ultimate bummer of this episode. And it's not the
literally
actors
like
and
that
writers' fault.
It's like
Pay the actors, pay the writers. SAG, AFTRA, WGA strong. We support the strike. And we want to see our characters back, because AI is not going to cut it. Like, this was a great. I thought this was very cinematic, very well done. Yeah,
I want to say, if this was written by AI, the AI would definitely Vrvil Patel.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and they still might. But I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Sam Kirk was so bloodthirsty here. But not.
And Dr. Mbenga.
Yes. Well, I mean, that was not surprising to me, unfortunately. But yes.
They're not going to decide.
And then Ortega's, guys, did you know she flies the ship?
Yeah.
I'd like to know something else about her, so I hope they don't kill her either, or La'an. But I did
we got 2 facts about Ortega's, and that's it.
What's the second one?
She's a war veteran.
A war veteran. Sorry. Yes, that's true. Which I think we knew last season, but I definitely am. I mean, again, like, I'm excited. I'm glad they did not kill anyone in this episode. I thought that was an interesting choice. And I love, like, I think Stan was saying, Pike's indecisiveness. Like, he's finding his way. He feels like a very human captain. And I love that about him.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my top thoughts.
I think a mix of,
and also zombies. Somebody said zombies in the chat. Walking Dead reference to me. I'm like, yep, Spock watched The Walking Dead. I used to be a fan. I still watch Dead City. So, which Michelle Hurd was on for a hot second, by the way.
Wow.
I enjoyed this episode. I do get what you're feeling, where sometimes I'm like, I wish this was just a new villain and not the Gorn, so I didn't have to think about the original Gorn and like try and make that make sense. But I think I've just been like, okay, I think this is just a different subsect of Gorn in my brain to just kind of like, because I can't keep thinking about it. Otherwise, I won't be able to like enjoy it. But I did love just the tension of the episode, because even, like I said, it doesn't quite work that well with Chapel, because we all know Chapel. But I was at one point, I was like a little bit on the edge of my seat, and I would go, "What's wrong with me? I've seen Chapel before." Like after this point. I did really enjoy the actor that played Scotty. I had one of the, like, I heard his accent and like jumped up a little, and then had to Google him and try to figure out why that actor looks familiar.
What have you seen him on?
He's in an episode of Dairy Girls, is what I've seen him in. He's like in one episode.
That's right.
I forgot about that. Yeah. I love Dairy Girls.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it,
I didn't mention
it.
Scotty. Love Scotty.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's on Netflix. It's fantastic. It's one of the funniest shows ever created.
Dairy Girls. Yeah, it's actually 90s.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's
3
based
short
in the
seasons.
90s when they were going through all the IRA stuff. It's based in like is it Ireland? Are they in?
It's in Ireland. It takes it takes place during the Troubles in Ireland.
Yes.
And there's a episode where they flash back to their parents in high school, and
he plays
that
the
character.
dad?
He plays a teenager, but
okay.
I
forget, but that's a
cousin
good.
Who I think is also why it took me a second to realize why he looked familiar. He's the only character in that's like doing an accent, and he's Canadian.
Nice. I thought he was great as Scotty. I'm on board.
I think he was great, and I think it's the first like actual Scottish person to play Scotty. So good for him.
I was saying earlier to others that I thought it would have hit, I liked it too, especially on a rewatch. I'm liking it a lot more. I think it would have hit a little bit better if we hadn't gotten so much Kirk this season. The dash of it last season and maybe the last episode with him coming on board for executive officer training would have been perfect. But the two other, he was in 3 episodes this season. It sort of undercut the excitement I probably could have had for Scotty. But I like that we're getting an introduction to someone who's
Scottish
not necessarily known as much and is developed as much as the others. Like if it were McCoy, I probably would have been like, well, fuck this. We've already, even though we didn't get as much as Spock and Kirk, I'm excited that it was someone who we haven't seen yet, who we didn't get a lot of before.
Yeah, Scotty,
Sulu would have been another great choice, but
Scotty
the plot
is very underdeveloped. He's very underdeveloped. The most Scotty has ever had was in Relics up until this point in the TNG episode.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was good to see him. I think that they did him well. I think that they were trying to decide, is this sort of Simon Peggy Scotty, or is this sort of a Jimmy Doohan Scotty? And I think they tried to draw the line between them.
I think it was a good mix. Like I'm glad no one's trying. I'm glad at no point they're just like, do a Scottish accent. They're like, don't try to make your accent sound like James Doohan's.
Yeah.
And then
it also made sense for Scotty. It made sense for Scotty to be in this one. Like he was very integral to the plot. So I totally accepted the introduction of Scotty. I'm glad Pelia didn't die and she's still there. But she has to be in next season. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, I was worried that they were going to kill her at certain points, and I'm glad they didn't. I'm hoping.
When I saw Scotty, I was like, oh.
I'm hoping season 3 is like a mentorship, and then she goes off to do something else. I disagree with some of the chatter, but I think she was busy, not over her head. But agree to disagree on that one.
So I think about the Gorn.
The cliffhanger I really enjoyed, but I also didn't love that like at least 2 characters that we don't know are going to make it to the original series are with them, and I was like, oh no, please don't. I was like, I know Leon. I said I want tension. I don't actually want tension. I want my characters that I love happy.
Well, so we have Leon and Ortega's beamed over to the Gorn ship.
Yeah.
Right? And then we have M'Benga, who we know M'Benga survives. Right? Yes. So the question is, what's going to be the situation with Leon and Ortega? Now, about the Gorn, I just want to say I have watched Arena. I haven't watched it. I mean, I've watched it 1,000 times. But what's interesting about Arena, and I've read some people saying this, is who the Metrons called a Gorn. There's that line in there, right? So there's an argument potentially that the Metrons called him a Gorn. So maybe he truly wasn't a Gorn as in the Gorn that they're facing now. A little bit of a stretch, but I could see that there's some potential theories saying the Metrons misidentified him or identified him as a Gorn. And the reason that Kirk says the Metrons called a Gorn, but it still has Kirk saying, like most species, like most warm-blooded, I have an affinity against reptiles. So, it's going to be very interesting how they square this circle. There's a lot of fan discussion around how that's going to happen. And I saw that Fathery has a theory that he's going to talk about tomorrow. I'd be curious to hear it. It's going to be very hard to square the circle with Arena. But you could potentially make the argument about the Metrons. And you see Uhura respond with fear sitting at the station when the Gorn shows up. And you see Spock seems to not recognize it when Kirk is building, the cannon with the gunpowder.
Cannon alert. Cannon alert.
It seems very, very unusual that most of the crew, many of whom Spock now has fought the Gorn on the destroyed bridge of what's the name of the ship? The Cayuga? The what?
Cayuga.
The Cayuga.
Yeah.
Cayuga.
Cayuga. I'm so sorry.
It's Cayuga.
So it's a bit strange. Anyway.
Ken, I got something for you, though. Like, we don't know how they're going to resolve the Gorn. Like, this might come to a point where they do make contact. They end it semi-peacefully and demark certain areas, which would be why Spock is not as oh no, it's a Gorn. Like he's just like, yeah, Kirk's gonna figure this out no matter what that thing is.
But
And
if Justice 3 was in Gorn space, would they not have known the outline of Gorn space because of all of this? It's very clear. So,
I don't think we know that it was in Gorn space, though. I don't know. I watched Arena. I don't think they said that. I think they assumed some things.
Cestus 3 was in their the Gorn says that Cestus 3 was in their territory, which is you were invaders. We stop invaders, right? So, and then Kirk says maybe.
Oh my God, who's vicious dogs?
Yeah.
He wants to play with the dog across the street. It's fine.
Is that
They sound
hurting your
angry,
cat there, Braxton?
angry pit bulls.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, we should do a watch of Arena. I'm sure that it's like I said, it's gonna be very hard to square that circle.
The two things that I've relied on for that, well, the first one is I don't really care, but I respect that others do. So
thank you, Stan.
The thing that I rely on is the line from last season about where the Gorn gestate changes some of their whatever. Somebody joked that maybe the Gorn from Arena gestated in a pack lead, and that's why it looked different and was slower. And then the other thing I've heard is maybe that Gorn was retired and just a little slow.
Also didn't have a tail like this guy.
In retirement, your tail falls off.
Right.
Give me another roadblock, Ken. I'll knock it back down. Let's
maybe
go.
it was a tail as old as time. And
Boo.
Joel, that's a really bad joke.
Wow. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow, Joel.
Joel, goodness.
That
dude.
is a low blow. Yeah.
I don't want that thing to come out of her back, like
at
like
least,
last season.
Yeah. Pike was concerned enough to go after her. That's good.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be talked into it. So,
But the thing is, I feel like, I feel like it will be possible for, Nurse Chapel to she's going to put her in a coma or whatever. I mean, she might even kill her medically, but I mean, the Gorn that's inside of her, might, still emerge anyway. I don't know, dude. I feel like they shouldn't even have taken her on the ship.
It's a good point.
You could literally kill everyone by trying to save her.
They got her in stasis, right? Maybe they can figure out how to prevent the infection from turning into a Gorn baby. Maybe this is where Chapel is gonna, shine and do her thing. Although there's got to be another doctor on board besides Mbenga, right? Or is he the only doctor? I don't know.
No.
Well, she was the only one to survive the Cayuga. Or so we're led to believe somehow. One of my little nitpicks is
we don't know.
Earlier they were like, "Oh my God, sickbay is gone." This beautiful tense moment. Una in this episode, the face acting was incredible. But then, 2 scenes later, sickbay's not gone. How It felt like they didn't give them enough time to do certain things. It felt like the script to visual effectsing of things, make it make sense. Put her in any other part of the ship, of the Cayuga, and because why would she was just going back to get ready for a drop off. She didn't have to be at the sickbay set. She could have been in a quarter set, and
she could have been on the bridge already.
The sick bay is gone would have made sense.
I figured the sick bay was gone and it wasn't connected, and they found the bit of rubble that is now what sick bay was. That is not connected
it
to
looked too intact.
It looked fine. Yeah, I mean, it could have been whoever the Mbenga, whoever the CMO of the Cayuga is office. That's the part that it looked like. But still,
I don't think she was even anywhere near the medical section. I don't think
that didn't look like med to you. That looked like a med place to me. Maybe I have to rewatch it.
Looked to me also.
I thought the part where she got another hour of power on the
right. It felt like a sick bay-ish area.
Well, but the sick bay, you have to believe that when they said sick bay was gone, that sick bay was gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, no, I do have to believe that, but then that's not what we saw. That's what I'm saying. So I'm scrolling there now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't necessarily like. I believe you that it looked like sick bay. I didn't necessarily, and I only had time to watch the episode once. I had a pretty long work day, and I found the 1 hour I had in the middle of my work day and be like, no one talk to me at work. Let me watch this real quick.
The thing that bothered me
I
the
thought-
most about that scene is that she was looking at the Enterprise. The Enterprise was fixed. Her window was fixed, and yet it was clear that the saucer section was in some sort of rotation. So something was not working there.
I agree with the comment on the screen, by the way. Carl Urban as McCoy, always. Love it.
I'm sure that's way too expensive, and he's on other TV shows right now.
I know, and he's too. He's an older McCoy now. What are you gonna do? But I have to say, like this whole.
I stand
Chapel
corrected.
spot-
It was not sick bay.
It was not sick bay. Okay, good.
I can admit when I'm wrong. Twitter.
Not sick bay.
We know.
Wah,
We're
wah.
good for that. I will say the Spock and Chapel scene on the bridge was pretty intense, but we knew they weren't going to die, so it's kind of like, how are they going to get out of this? You always know that, though, right?
I wasn't.
But it was a good fight.
It was a good fight. It was very well done.
It's funny because my emotion wasn't, oh my god, are they gonna live? Because obviously they were. It was like kind of like, oh my god, how are they gonna like resolve what's going on between them? That I kind of like that, like they're not together, but they're like don't hate each other as much anymore. Like they're like back
it seemed
to,
like they
a
were
friendship part.
stepping toward that direction. I also want to give a shout out to the Legend Workshop, the place that created those special effects that the Ready Room highlighted today, because that was
fantastic.
Practical effects.
amazing.
Bring back practical effects to movies and TV, please.
I still need to watch that. That's incredible.
It was like amazing. It reminded me of Labyrinth and the Muppets, and I was like, there it is. That's the Crusher connection. Like, I think Gates would have loved this. All of this. Exactly. But I also think that it shows how effective practical effects are and why they're so you need to have a mix of CGI and practical. And I'm glad that's coming back again. It's a lot of work. You hear how they have to 3D print and try things, and it takes like 3 guys to control like a Gorn that's like this big, like to make it look real. And they did a phenomenal job. The makeup, the special effects in this one, the ship, it was beautiful. It was like a movie. Everything about that was amazing.
It was fantastically done. By the way, I have to say, I only saw 3 guys in that Gorn. Sorry. Just kidding.
RC, since you just got here, was any like initial thoughts that you had?
Basically, oh no, we have to wait very long for the resolution. This is like the biggest thought in my head.
Yeah.
And also, I messaged you without telling you, because I'm glad I didn't say anything because I wasn't sure if you had watched it. All I wrote to you was about Scotty.
Yeah.
I said my exact response was halfway through the episode, and then later on finished the episode, and then whenever you eventually responded.
Yeah.
Regarding the Carl Urban comment, though, I saw someone recently say, I guess because of their panel together at Star Trek Las Vegas, that they should get Zachary Quinto to be Cybok if they actually bring him in as a character. And I'm really enjoying that idea.
And it's such a good. Oh, speaking of Cybok, wasn't Angel supposed to be in this season?
I heard that they were coming back. Yeah.
Unless I'm blind. I
also heard that there was going to be an Ortegas episode too, and we didn't get that.
Justice for Ortegas.
See, I at least saw
yes,
what
we
I
know.
thought
She's
an Ortegas
amazing.
episode was, but unless Angel was real hidden.
No, she wasn't here. I loved Ortegas in this episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad she finally got her away mission, but it's a hell of an away mission for your, And I think watching her pilot the shuttlecraft was pretty awesome. Her figuring out it kind of was like The Walking Dead, where you like put the guts on and you're that was a good connection. And I thought that she was fabulous, but she didn't have a lot to do. She and Mbenga did have a moment about Chapel, and I thought that Melissa Navia and Babs did it amazing. All the actors are so good in this show. That's why I really hope we see them again sooner rather than later.
I think.
But yeah, and I love the Cybok thing. Zachary Quinto for Cybok. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it's very telling how good Melissa Navio is, because we're always like, I want to see more of her, despite the fact she's so good that she always stands out, despite the fact she does not have a lot to do. And we're always like, every time she does something, I'm like, yes, more of that, please.
I realized the other thought that I had was prior to the somewhat obvious thing that Battelle had gotten bitten or injected or whatever. There was a brief moment where I was like, is she a traitor? And I was like, but how do you betray to the Gorn?
When she was face to face with it, I knew that she was bit. Like,
but I was like, they're not going to do another Hammer to us, are they?
Again, just like a zombie movie.
It was it was the alien scene with her and Sigourney
I tell you,
Weaver.
you watch The Walking Dead enough, they have the bite reveals.
I thought that too.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but I was like, of course, it's way more obvious. Because again, I was like, how do you betray someone to the Gorn?
Yeah, because that's what was going through my head. Like when she was trying to avoid the question, I was like, how could she possibly do this? Because literally at the same time, I'm having the same thought. They're not going to have her be bitten. They're not going to do that to us again near the end of a season, right?
I do like that they have a reaction, and she's like, "I'll go out like Hammer," and they're like, "No, he didn't give us a choice. Like we didn't ask him to do that."
Yeah, I like that we didn't get the exact same ending, especially.
Yeah,
obviously we didn't know until the very end that I think that was going to be a cliffhanger, or at least I didn't. Maybe the rest of y'all did.
I wasn't
sure, but people were talking.
I kind of thought it might be because I saw some people talking on Twitter and then tried to put my phone away. Because I saw some people be like, we have to wait. And I was like, ugh. And so that was like, when it didn't seem to be resolving, I went, this is why people are mad that we have to wait. I guess
we did get a cliffhanger at the end of the last season with Una, but it wasn't exactly the same. True. It wasn't an immediate peril kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like 3 of the main characters being kidnapped by the Gorn type of peril.
I was going to say, the peril of being taken to jail is bad,
civilians.
But it's not as immediately deathly.
Are they going to save all those people, or are they only going to worry about their crew? I don't know. Like, that's a lot of people that they take.
It depends on how many of those extras they get to come back.
Yep.
Una went to a Federation prison. It's like, of the type of prisons you can go to, that one's probably pretty nice.
That's the minimum security equivalent.
Yes, exactly.
Practically a day spa.
But the thing that I thought
Tom Harris doesn't seem to be too messed up by it.
You lost, and I get that they, like April was saying, they didn't attack the Federation; they attacked the planet that was outside of Federation territory. However, they did attack a Federation ship.
Yep,
and they killed all of those Starfleet officers. No justice for them because they were on a diplomatic mission to try to convince a planet to join the Federation? I don't understand.
No, when a Federation starship is blown up by the Gorn, I think that's a declaration of war.
Right?
Yeah, I have many conflicting thoughts about Starfleet in this episode, including this line of demarcation that is between a planet and its moon. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, I thought that was the entire solar system or like star system. I didn't think it was the planet and the moon. Okay, because in my head I was like, does the orbit sometimes make it theirs and sometimes not? But I guess
right, like that too. But no, I was just looking at a bigger version on one of the screens a little bit later, and definitely it's just the planet that they care about, not the moon. And it was wild. I'm hoping next season there's a little bit of Pike and April reckoning, because April needs to hear it. Like they're being. Yeah. This is another place where they have an opportunity with Pike being put out of the Klingon War to be able to say, like, Robert, I get it. You went through it with the Klingon War. This is not that. We can't forget who we are. They were under attack. Yeah. We're being too skittish.
Yeah, it was
doesn't feel like the Robert April I know from the animated series either. Sorry.
Exactly.
Hi, Aaron.
How are you tonight, Aaron? What did you think of the episode?
Gorn, LA traffic. Gorn, LA traffic. I don't know. Like equal, I think. No, I'm good. I just got back from my storage unit, so that was fun.
So I thought about we talked about at the end of Picard season 3, sort of the return of the Jedi moment with the Enterprise D. Here we had the Millennium Falcon moment. We'll float away. We'll float away with the rest of the garbage. That was the Empire Strikes Back moment I was thinking about with the shuttlecraft. And then the other thing I was very upset about was why did Ortegas have to ask, hey, what's all this stuff on the sensor? Right. I mean, does she not? I mean, obviously she's asking that because she's being the audience. Of course, she must know that that's the rubble the debris from the ship, right? It just was
Maybe
a
she
weird.
was, maybe she was hoping
I felt
against
she
hope
was
that
being
wasn't.
snarky. Maybe she was just.
Yeah,
being
maybe
a
she was
little-
being snarky.
Yeah.
But if she can't read that panel, she's probably not the good pilot we've been told and seen her to be. Like,
Stop it.
some of my nitpicks are like they're silly little things that I know production is like, look, we got to do this quickly, we got to get through it. The studios need to get their shit together and listen to the writers. They need a writer on set. I don't know if they had one or not. But here's a good example of why. Like, why is the pilot saying something that the pilot would not say? Makes no sense.
I'm trying to remember who was in that scene. Like they could have with the communicate. I'm trying to think would
Kirk could have been it.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, because it was the shuttle, right? Like, or
No, it was
Where?
on the bridge. It was on the bridge.
It was on the bridge.
Because
So I
it
know
was
it's
when
just
Una
her and
was trying to
Una.
do all of the various projections on the kinds of orbits to get around seeing the
right.
So
So she was not being snarky there. I thought we were talking about the conference room scene.
no, not where the
Okay.
conference room scene when she says break in case of Gorn. I thought that was a great line.
Mhm.
So,
I think Brian makes a good point that could be just kind of like, hey, I don't want to say this out loud. You say this.
yeah. I also
you suggest
wanted.
this is an idea.
I also
So why
wanted,
is Spock? Oh, go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say I was going to want to make a quick note again on the sound design and harkening back to the original series. So when the communications between Battelle and Pike start getting disrupted in the pre-title sequence, if you listen carefully, you will hear the sound that you heard on the original series when they had garbled communications. And
Interesting.
I thought that was very cool.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Why is Spock the only one that can perform the mission? I was thinking either because of the way that he can do the calculations to the exact place, or the fact that he's half Vulcan, half human, so he has a little bit more strength. I don't know, but I feel
thought
like
it
it
was
was a
either-
combination
He's
of
always
his
the one who can do
intellect
like
and-
Like
Yeah.
he can do the
I figured it was
slingshot
either
strength
calculations.
and-
or maybe Vulcans have like better lung capacity or something.
That's
For,
another one of
like-
those places where a little massaging of the script, like instead of the only one, I'm most qualified.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That would have been
Yeah.
better, I think.
Although I'm wondering if I'm the only one is more of a like it has to be me. It's like his little bit of emotion. Like I have to find out if Christine's alive or whatever.
I
So instead
think
of it
that
like
way.
yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Also, it harkens to the Wrath of Khan, right? This is what Spock does. He sees the solution. He's gonna, he wants to be the leader. He wants to, step up
Yeah,
be
I
the
feel
one
like
to-
Spock.
to do it.
I agree. I feel like Spock is kind of arrogant. It's like, ooh, like the return of like the Spock arrogance. Like, ooh, like it has to be me. I'm the only one who could do this.
Logically.
Mhm.
Maybe Pelia could do it.
Yeah, she's only 2,000 years old or something. I don't know.
She was busy.
She was there when that guy invented math. The Pythagorean.
Yeah. She had no use for it though for a
Right.
while. So.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But it was, that was a striking moment, and it was just absolutely devastating that we ended on that cliffhanger. But I thought it was better than killing a bunch of people off, and I like Pike kind of looking lost on his bridge.
No.
He
Yeah,
doesn't know
I
what
like that.
he thinks that they've solved it. He thinks he has his people back. He thinks Marie's gonna be okay. They'll figure something out, and then boom, everyone gets kidnapped by the Gorn.
And they do that really cool soundscape of where it's like it's very distant. Everything else is sort of like away from him, and you just hear it kind of like.
I also loved when they're
Yeah.
getting beamed away. It's the green because I remember seeing the green and being like, "That's not good."
Yeah.
Like,
Green
Yeah,
is
but
not
again,
good
the
in Star
sound
Trek.
design. It's not a Federation transporter, and I still love the fact that the transporters for the Enterprise still have the different transporter effect that was only used in the Menagerie. So it is not the original series transporter. It's still from the first pilot. And one thing that I did not mention from the crossover episode is they very clearly talk about they very clearly use the transporter effect from Lower Decks. So the way that they differentiate their transporter sound effects is really very cool.
Such a good eye and ear for these things.
Yeah.
Well, I've been at it for
Yeah.
like 50 years, so.
Well, still, I mean,
yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I feel like this episode did, and this entire season has, like, actually making me believe Battelle and, like, Pike are like, oh, I'm actually, like, believing these people have feelings for each other, as opposed to, like, at the beginning of the season, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, are they not just, like, doing it?
Well, they got a chance to have a private conversation. So.
Yeah.
Braxton likes it.
Yeah, I liked, like, it was just, like, a cute moment where, she was like, why did you come? And I liked his little quip, like, well, you shouldn't have hung up on me. Like, little, like, I was like, oh, that sounds like a cute little, like, couple moment that, like, I actually believe.
I like them. I thought they did they feel very natural.
This was the first time that felt like that, I think. Really.
This is how you explore those dynamics, you know? It was
like,
nice.
I'm starting to get into them. Like, I've been starting to get into them, and this is the first that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm really into them. Of course she's in trouble now.
Some of us are rooting for them now. We're like, well, I knew she was infected, right? It's the whole zombie pulled the sleeve back, I've been bit thing. But I think
it's better than dying right away.
It is. And there's hope. There's hope because maybe this is how they're going to resolve the whole Gorn thing. They're going to find a cure. Or they're going to find a way to, you know. So she wasn't fridged in this episode, and that was a good thing. And I love the little reference to last episode where Pike said, "Well, I'm not singing every 10 minutes." So that was a good callback.
The show of courage makes her tolerable for me. Like one of the first notes that I have when I started watching the second the second part of the show when I came home was like, oh my gosh, Battelle is so boring. But then later I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's bit. And it's like the courage, you know, like, the courage makes me, made me like her. I was kind of bored with her. I totally thought that she was going to die this episode. And like halfway through, I was like, damn, is she going to die already? But now, I'm really sympathetic towards.
See, even if even if I didn't love Battelle, I would still be like, don't fridge another female character, please.
She's been around since the first episode, hasn't she?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. That's why. Okay, I was pretty sure.
I mean, I love the fact that it feels more like they're a couple, but she isn't like super dynamic all the time. Though. There's sort of a blandness to her character. Like, I almost wonder if that's meant so that we can reflect Pike into it, as opposed to like, let's see what Pike is doing, and then we can kind of then build the character to bounce off of her.
And maybe she's just a normal, competent, good Starfleet officer who's going about her life. Like,
she's not on the flagship. She's just out there.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's just like, when you have a main character, they tend to be
because she hasn't been like main.
Right.
It's kind of forgivable,
That's true.
and they haven't really given her own storyline. Like, where does she come from? Where her family, anything like that. So
that would be cool.
Yeah, if we got a little bit more about her, we might feel a little bit more sympathetic toward her. Like a little bit more attached, I should say. I like her though. I like the actress. I do like her. Yeah, and that
so
was
we get
a
combination
jacket.
We get a combination Battelle Ortega's episode to round us out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There was some great costuming and outfits.
I believe she's the pilot.
Costumes, yes.
Yeah, I thought the spacesuits were really good. I really liked the armor that Pike was wearing, with the gold on the chest. I thought that looked really great.
Okay,
and I like the action jackets. Come on, they look good. They look good.
I love Pike's like messy hair at the end. I was like, how does it still look perfect in a different way? Jesus Christ,
he's still looking fabulous. He's still got it. That's that's his signature now. We go from Pike to Kirk to Picard with the Enterprise caption. I know there's two in between, but show wise.
The Gorn
and they're all fabulous in their own ways. All fabulous in their own ways.
I really like watching the Ready Room in terms of that costuming, though. Just like you said about the company doing all the practical effects, but also just seeing like all the different parts to it. Will Wheaton getting to like play with the helmet, and when the guy said like, "Oh, it's really expensive," I did have the thought. I was like, "How much does that cost?"
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
it reminded me of Weta Workshop in some ways when they're
Yes.
doing Lord of the Rings
Yep.
stuff. And like the way I love that Will Wheaton was like a kid in a candy store with this thing. Like with the hand and the helmet. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't break this, Will. Like, you're going to be fine. But like it was cool to see him like getting into it as a fan would. And that's why we watch the Ready Room, right? Like he's nerding out like we do, and it was cool to see behind the scenes and for them to actually for the prop people to actually get props. It's good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Love the Gorn EV suit. I mean, the thing was so heavy; it was like 100 pounds. The guy was on wires. I don't know how that stunt guy did that. The actor. I mean, that must have been
6'7".
tricky. Yeah.
I looked it up. It was
effective.
Legacy Effects was the name of the company.
Legacy
Yes.
Effects, yes.
Yeah, I thought
Yes.
we said.
I
like
thought there was
10
an
minutes.
irony to the name there. I'm like,
Yeah.
Legacy. All right. Maybe we could have some legacy effects in another Star Trek show in about
I have
4
no idea
years.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
6'7", built like a powerful.
And-
Okay.
I doubt with like what is it, Superman Legacy coming out, they would ever use the word legacy anymore. But the title, I mean.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah.
A very interesting title for a kickoff thing, but that's not what we're here to talk.
I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
comics
not why
do
we're here.
that. I feel like you could still get away with
You know,
it.
I
but-
think with the Gorn EV suit though, like it's just find a new aesthetic. Stop looking at HR Giger. Like the tail, which I didn't know Gorns had tails. I guess they did.
seriously, that's what I said earlier. Where did these
Okay,
Ken's really on the whole tail being the weapon thing, huh?
Somebody
That's-
said, yeah, that
didn't
it's
work
not
for you,
actually
I guess.
just a machine. Like it's actually not. It's just in the suit and not in their body or
Yeah,
something.
maybe that's it.
But if you look at it, it is like it's got the same rigid. Like I took two pictures of the alien tail and that tail next to each other, and they're nearly identical. So it's like come up with
It is
something.
very,
I also
very Geiger.
we were talking about like Spock being stronger, which like they have shown us like Vulcans are stronger than humans, and
Yep.
I think as strong as Klingons, but not as strong as androids. I don't know how the rock paper scissors there works exactly, but also he was just getting ragdolled by that Gorn. He was just- the Gorn was just,
Vulcans
like-
are stronger than Klingons.
I thought they were of similar strength. I'm not 100%
Okay.
on that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
I
he
think
didn't try the Vulcan nerve pinch. That I guess wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have gone
It's
through the
interesting. There is a Spock kill, right? Like it again reminded me of Arena, and maybe why Spock wanted to be more diplomatic and more, hey, Captain, maybe we cool down a little bit. Because I mean, now we're seeing him like he was not happy that he was forced to kill that Gorn. Like he had to do it, but I think that long term, if you like, I watched Arena before this, and I was like, yeah, maybe Spock, like when he evolves, that's one of the memories that he has, and he's like, I don't want to have to do that again, you know?
Captain, you don't understand. I had to kill him in possibly the most horrific way possible to die.
Well, he was using something that was right there. He had to it was survival. It was survival. I'm okay. Not checking the rest of the saucer section for survivors. I know they didn't have time, but you know.
It's,
I have a question. Was that weapon any more horrifying than thinking about most of the weapons in the game Clue being used to kill somebody?
No,
that's
the
how
horrifying
Candace-
part is not
yeah.
the stab to the face. The horrifying part is the depressurization.
Yeah.
Yeah, the depressurization. Now, what's
I did
interesting is when
feel
they-
something for that Gorn for like a half a second when that was happening. I'm like, oh god, that's a horrible way to die.
Maybe Spock
Horrific,
did
dude.
too. Like
Yeah.
this is where he's starting to get his empathy for life, right? Spock's known to be very
Mhm.
kind of he tries to be a pacifist, like Worf in Picard season 3, right?
We're all going to die.
His first instinct is not to kill, so it
Yeah.
must have been tough
Right.
for him.
When they introduced the Gorn box in the ready room, which really should have been a briefing room, but never mind. They introduced the weapon that was the nitrogen bomb that they said would freeze everybody, that would freeze the Gorn, and Benga says it's not good for anybody.
It's like it would freeze everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So they introduced that concept, but they don't pay it off. So I think that we're going to probably see that weapon used in part 2 somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting.
They'll rig them up to inside the Gorn ship or something to escape.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Winter Wonderland.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
That's
hint.
the
We know
Christmas
when the episodes
episode,
are coming
guys.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Pike's.
I'll put some lights on it,
catchphrase.
because apparently
Merry Christmas.
they're attracted to light as well. So you can string up some Christmas
Pike could
lights and
Pike
set off
could-
the nitrogen
Pike
bombs.
could- Pike had just seen Die Hard, and decided that's the movie he wants to do. No longer the zombie movie.
Oh,
No.
I really loved Spock's response of zombies no, a movie yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
That
can't
was
wait
so-
to.
so-
I
Such a
imagine.
classic Spock line to me.
I imagine Uhura and Spock, after all of this is over, sitting down watching a zombie movie together. Like, but it would be
What
like,
zombie
what is
movie,
that?
though?
What is that comedy one with like Bill Murray
Sean,
at
oh, I was thinking-
Zombieland?
oh, Zombieland. I was gonna say,
Zombieland?
Or
Sean-
Shaun of the Dead would be great because Simon Pegg is in it, right?
Right.
Brian,
Yeah.
I'm
Crossing the
stealing
streams.
this. Ho,
Dawn of the
ho,
Dead.
ho. Now I have a nitrogen grenade.
Yeah.
Sadly, I cannot do what Eldrick would have.
Well, the other thing that
Well, Brian,
that's probably
there you
going to be
go.
used is that thing that Scotty was working on.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Right,
Yes,
whatever that is.
Yeah.
The device that was attracting the Gorn, that thing?
Yeah, because it faked a human signature, wasn't it?
Right. He's so smart. I loved Scotty in this. I was
Yeah.
I was on board.
I was
I just
surprised
didn't
by
want
that.
them to kill
Like,
Pelia.
There was a flicker of
I-
like, oh my god, it's Scotty. Oh, why are they introducing kind of like we were talking earlier? Why are they
Yeah.
bringing back another character? But then I was like, I don't care. Scotty's here. It's cool.
But it's like baby Scotty. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
like
he's
he's not
like
the right
so
age.
young. And he
Baby
lost his
Scotty.
entire ship, guys. This is the trauma this
Yeah.
guy has been through. His entire
I,
shipping crew were gone. Like not
He's
great.
gonna put everyone in a pattern.
I
buffer.
also
Yeah.
love.
No,
Why
he
did
got
they
that
do
from
that to
Mbenga.
Patel?
You're gonna see
Ooh.
Mbenga teaching him that maybe.
Ooh, wow.
I-
Ooh, wow.
There you go.
Loved.
But I think that's where Battelle could actually go. I don't know why they didn't just put her into
Yeah.
transporter buffer.
Right? That's just
I
Well, and
did-
Benga's not there to tell him to do
Oh,
it.
that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
Nurse Chapel knows how to put people in the
Yep.
in the buffer.
Oh yeah,
Like,
she did.
and
Yes,
Benga
she
already
does.
taught her that.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
that's,
wow,
in
maybe.
TAS, she uses like the transporter twice to solve a medical issue. So I'm like, I think that's her thing. You know, it's like she becomes like
did,
transporter advocate.
I did love everything about Scotty and Pelia's dynamic. As soon as she's like, Mr. Like Scotty, what is that? He's like, it's gonna help us. And it's just this mess of wires.
You know that he was another student that got bad grades because he wasn't living up to his
Yeah.
potential. Like,
No,
you
no,
know,
he-
right?
He's their best student, right?
My best student
He
with the
said-
worst
he said-
grades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I thought it said that he got her worst qualities or something like that. I didn't think it was.
I thought it was. I think he was
I
got
think
a
it was
worse
best student.
grades.
I think
Oh.
he was best.
I could be
student, worst
wrong,
grades.
but
So I
I only
think
saw
he
that.
was-
Okay.
Didn't
so
she
I
also
think
say
that to
someone
me,
else was her
like,
best student,
Scotty's
but then take it
brilliant,
back?
But
Una, I think.
Una.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Una.
No,
Guys,
I'll
I
be the
got a
best
piece.
student.
I got a piece out.
No, no,
heading
she
to the
said-
Oh,
salon,
Hammer.
but I
Yeah,
will
me
see
See
you
too.
you,
guys
Cheryl.
Bye.
Next
Bye, guys.
time.
later.
I
Have a good
think
weekend.
she says. I think she says Hemmer is her best student, and she goes, "No, he wasn't." Like I
Like,
just
he was
said that because
okay.
he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be the best student that they've seen.
Yeah, I took that to mean like Scotty's is brilliant, but just chaotic.
Which tracks.
Maybe Scotty has ADHD, or maybe I just want all my favorite characters to have ADHD like me.
Someone on that ship has ADHD for sure. Someone in that main crew. Also,
What
I
would
was
you-
thinking about the ready room versus briefing room thing. Did the original series show us a briefing room? I always feel like I imagine it was just them talking on the bridge.
No, they had a like the tri-dim screen,
Oh,
the
you're right.
three-sided
Okay.
screen.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like there were so many times where I just imagine
Yeah.
like things that should have been a private conversation that Kirk, Spock, and McCoy just seem to be hanging out on the bridge talking about it.
Well,
So-
I think that's what they were referring to, in, like jokingly, in the crossover episode where he's like across the bridge talking. It's like, you're right there, we can hear you. It's like, oh, I thought the distance of the bridge, you know, it's like,
I was like, this bridge is huge. I thought it would help.
yeah, well, that's true. That would actually work in that bridge.
Can you hear the dog?
Not right now.
Not really.
Okay. In a distant room, I could hear a squeak, squeak, squeak.
Squeak, squeak, squeak. Now I have a squeak toy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really happy with this episode. I was like not super thrilled that, again, just because it was the second to last episode last time, but that we got the Gorn again. You know, that's like, but it also was a payoff because they did set that up in the beginning of season 2 that like there's something going on in the background. So I was not super. I hope that whatever season 3 becomes and whenever we get it. I agree with Fathery in terms of time frame. I hope whatever it is that it ends with potentially another cliffhanger, but in either way ends with something we haven't seen before. It doesn't have to be a galactic threat. because too many
Please
recent
no.
Star Trek stuff is doing galactic threat. But just something that's dramatic enough to the crew of the Enterprise to matter. But with a threat that an alien species we haven't seen before, something different, something strange, something new, perhaps a world. Who knows?
Yeah, you want a strange new world? Is that what you wanted at this show?
It'd be really cool, you know.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about Scotty's a little young, although I feel like Scotty maybe always seems younger than he like actually is supposed to be.
How old is that actor?
According to
Quinn
this,
Mar-
he's
Ever-
29, and
Martin.
I think it might also be the
Oh,
thing
okay.
where everyone in Star Trek is like older than they're supposed to be, or like,
Yeah.
or like younger,
I think
and
that's
then
what-
like it always revealed.
When you watch the 60s, like that's supposed to be that you're supposed to be 30. You look like you're 45
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like,
But then
Also,
you
ever
have like
since I learned that Christina Chong is 39, it just throws me off.
aging doesn't matter. We have no idea
doesn't
what
make any
ages
sense.
look like.
when you get older, you certainly don't. I don't feel it's like ask me who, and I don't know. You're 10, I don't know, 12, 15, whatever. Like younger kids are really, it's harder to tell. Not that bad, but you know.
Can you hold a phaser? That'll do.
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys talk
I
about
think
the mock Midwestern town that they had?
Yeah.
The American, that was interesting.
Yeah,
That
did
to
like-
me screamed, "We have this set."
Yes, exactly.
It won't cost us anything.
I think
Then
yeah,
they
I
also-
don't
I
mind
because
because
it's very TOS. You
But
know,
then they
it's
also set it on fire and drove a car through
Yeah.
it. So like maybe they did want to just be a little bit of a callback to some of the funny settings of
I
TOS.
think Ken
Yeah.
knew what show it was, but I kind of like they did. It's based off the Midwest U.S., and I was like, it's based off the Midwest U.S. in a movie, not the like.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
There
I
are
was like,
some
I,
that, like, that
which
one
I
street,
totally
but-
believe. For the record, I totally believe that that's what if someone is basing like, they're like, that's what they want. They don't want the real Midwest. Real life? No, thank you.
The
Hill
Midwest, we
Valley.
had like strip malls and
But like
A
very
Walmart
Stars
somewhere
Hollow
out there.
esque, a very Stars Hollow esque with little gazebo.
I love
Yes.
a little gazebo.
or
I do
like
love a little
WandaVision or
Yeah.
It's like- my picture just
I was
keeps
like, I
changing.
don't think.
Like,
Oh, okay. I
I
thought
don't-
you
there's
did
a-
that. I thought that was like you were doing
no,
that to
not
like,
on purpose. I don't know
emphasize-
what's happening. It's done that twice now.
I
I'm
like that
all right.
was it was that was on purpose because that was cool, but
This is where I want to keep it, but it keeps popping back to whatever. Oh, he's 37 years old. Wait, who is?
well, Scotty I think is supposed to be 37.
Oh, the
And
character.
Paul Wesley Kirk should be 26.
Okay.
But all the performances
they look
are
like
good,
you
so I
could
don't
switch
care
them.
that much. Yeah.
When was Scotty's first appearance? Was he in? I know he wasn't in the pilot episode.
I think it was the.
Fairly certain.
He's early in season 1 of the original series, at least. I took the squeaky toy away from the dog, and he's just like staring at me sadly.
Trying to research and talk at the same time.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying everyone that they have been bringing in as like the younger
Mhm.
versions of future TOS cast. I will be interested. I'm wondering like how long until they're like, we're gonna get them all for a scene together.
Yeah.
like it's gonna be like Pike, Una, all of them are gonna be trapped or something on an away mission,
Mhm.
and they're gonna be in charge of the Enterprise for a day or something.
He was in Where No Man Has Gone Before. That
Oh,
was his first
really?
appearance. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
This is the script for that. I should have just read it.
Oh, just turn around, started reading. The dog looks so sad about me taking away the squeaky toy.
Ooh, now he sounds angry.
I think it's for me, just because people were talking about Paul Wesley, is that I watched a little bit of the Vampire Diaries, but he's done such a good job for me as Kirk that I do not associate him with that at all. Like I'm really enjoying his Kirk. But I've kind of already established
think
like I don't have a strong connection with TOS in that I haven't
Yeah, I've really been enjoying him as Kirk, and he's never blocked me on Twitter, so he's got a couple things going for him.
How are you doing with Chris Pine?
I don't think he has Twitter, so I think I'm good.
Oh, he's smarter than the rest of us.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm trying to think about anything.
Scotty was born in 1994. Martin Quinn.
Oh, okay.
That's depressing. I was in college.
Well, the passage of time I can't help you with.
Yes.
So only a year younger than me. Sorry, Aaron.
No, it's
Also, we do know that Sam survives because he gets to die later.
Yeah.
and Pike.
I'm so very.
Well, yeah.
I didn't realize that because Sam only appears in TOS in the one episode where he dies, right? Like, that's like the only scene he appears in. He's not even alive, and that's just so very depressing to me now because I'm really liking this character.
I keep thinking that
I'm
we.
like,
since we
Where
haven't
is
got
Gary Mitchell?
part of-
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm wondering if since we keep getting very little information about Erica, if she's actually gonna be the one that they end up sacrificing or something. It's like she flies the ship. She was in a war. That's it. And then she talked about going on this the away mission, and you're like, don't ask that. And then they literally said that. And now she's captured, right? She's on that second group.
Yeah, she's with Lon.
Yeah.
And Umbenga and a bunch of other characters.
But we know
those characters are very much in danger, though.
Right. Jesus father.
Well, Benga will make it.
Actually,
TOS.
Oh, that's so very mind-breaking to me.
What?
You know, Star Trek really actually. I want Star Trek to go back to talking more about psionics. We don't have enough character that randomly develops psychic powers.
Yeah, that was a weird thing for a while. Like even in the 79 motion picture novel, the whole thing was like the new humans, and that was like this thing that people were developing, and that was Gene was really into that, and then it just disappeared when he did.
I want someone else to go to the galactic barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
a phrase I still don't quite understand, given what I understand.
And no one wants to talk about them again. Like developing random psychic powers or going past warp 10. And they're just like never again.
Did you know that you
yes,
can click on
this is what I want. I want Lon kick Gorn butt.
What?
I maybe it's just because I'm in Chrome. When I hovered over someone, there was a button and I clicked it, and that individual person's video went out to a pop-out window.
Oh,
that's very weird.
Oh, weird.
Mine doesn't do that. I'm in Chrome. That's odd. Huh. Are you on a PC or a Mac?
On a Mac. I'll have to inquire further. Sorry for the distraction.
No, it's good.
I'm also on a Mac. Now we're just like, how is there just like things I don't know about?
Welcome to Exploring StreamYard with Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope that Lon gets some vengeance, some Gorn vengeance.
Yeah.
I want that for her.
I do want to figure out, like, how, we've been saying this, how do they build ships and stuff like that? Like and then we saw the person in the EV suit. So that I just want.
I thought a lot about that. Society, I was like, this is a very, like, they are just absolutely feral as children, and then some level of technical sophistication at some point.
Yeah.
To be fair, have you seen human children?
Or they have slaves.
Yeah, I've never. That's true. I've never seen a pack of human children eat anybody.
You've never been to a daycare, then. My mom was a teacher.
Did she make it out?
My mom was.
Yes, she retired finally. She served her time and was able
now
to
her watch has ended.
Exactly.
My mom was a kindergarten teacher. She had to teach them that they couldn't be feral anymore.
So my point being is that I will argue that Gorn children are different than other children of the Alpha Quadrant or Beta Quadrant. I'm not really 100% sure. Are they Beta Quadrant?
Well, if not that, I know that people argue about if this is really showing exactly what it's like, but in the lower decks, they had the Gorn wedding where it was like, there was a lot of feral activity in that too. So didn't they were trying to beat up Rutherford.
I love RC's Star Trek map he's pulling out to figure out where the Gorn live.
Yes. Looks like.
It came with Star Trek Adventures core rulebook.
Oh, that's cool.
Romulans, Typhon Expanse, Black Deep Space Marine.
Oh yes. if Frances from San Antonio, we ran into her at Vegas, and she was really sweet. And so it was really nice meeting you. I hid the squeaky toy, and now he's looking for it, and also giving me sad eyes. It's the loudest fucking toy in the world, and my mom bought it for him and then left the country.
That's what good grandparents do.
Not terribly surprising, but it looks like they're not big enough to qualify for their own section, like the Cardassians or the Breen. Or
Alright,
I don't remember where that was. Let me see.
again, not terribly surprising given that it's not.
Right.
You know, I was gonna say there was also the possibility that they're like the Packleds or Reavers in Firefly, that they're just like they might just be stealing all these ships. That might be why Spock doesn't recognize stuff about them, because it's like they don't have the same two ships ever. Well, no, the Hunter ship. Never mind.
According
Totally
to
blew
Memory
my own
Alpha,
argument away.
according to Memory Alpha, it's Beta Quadrant.
Okay, Azure Nebula cluster.
It
Ah, the
is the Federation's galactic south at both rimward and spinward from the United Federation of Planets. They share borders with the Klingon and the Federation. And I couldn't put the E in there because there wasn't enough space.
All right, it might just not be on this map, unfortunately. But I'm really glad we all worked together on that.
Yeah. If you, actually, it highlights it on the Modiphius map. That's interesting.
Oh, where? Maybe I'm just looking at it.
Let's see. I'll send you a link in the private chat.
Thank you.
So who wants to ask Larry Nemeshek where the Gorn live?
And then you'll get a 9-hour.
Where are the Gorn, Larry?
There you go.
Thank you.
So it looks like it's between. What is the Interstellar Concordium?
Oh, so this map is very different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think this
this
is
looks
much
like
more
this-
game centered.
Yeah, I say this map gives them a bunch of space. This
Yeah.
to give you a comparison. I don't know how
Yeah.
visible this is.
It gives you game space because
Yeah.
then you can do all sorts of stuff in it.
Did anybody ever
Yeah.
play the old Star Trek Starfleet Command PC game? That sound familiar to
have
anybody?
No, I never. Like I've heard of it, but I never played it.
I love that game.
If someone I would play it if someone found a way for me to play it on like a system I have access to.
All right. I'll tell you how to. I'll tell you how to get PC games running on your Mac. We haven't. I've been busy.
That's fair. I also discovered this is a new lipstick. Like I have this brand, but sometimes the new ones have different. This smells like a fucking Fruit Loop, like Fruit Loops, like, and that's bizarre for lipstick. Okay, now I'm. Now I'm just like, where do the Gorn live? Where do they vacation? Where do you
Where
think
do
they
they-
summer?
Well, the Gorn summer in Federation territory.
They can
Yeah.
have babies.
Which
Actually,
is
now I
a
really want to know what the
problem.
Klingons' relationship with the Gorn, if they're bordering each other.
Okay, so I'm thinking in Star Trek
Klingons
Online,
probably love it.
On Star Trek Online, they're like allies, and like when you're fighting Klingons in Star Trek Online, and like the Gorn are you're often fighting the Gorn at the same time.
KK's Eternal says, "What are Scotty and Paleo working on? A device to make Starfleet ships appear to be Gorn ships on sensors?"
I wonder
think
if
so.
I wonder if they'll try to do some equivalent to what Picard did in the season 1 finale of Picard, where like just makes it look like there's a ton of ships, like basically throw their sensors into a disarray.
That would be
I threw them
interesting.
off the rhythm.
Also, they figured out that what they're attracted to, like solar flare, or not sunspots,
Yeah.
Solar
solar
energy of some kind.
corona. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, there's a
Warm
slightly-
spots in the sun.
yeah. It's more deadly than a solar flare, but I can't remember what it. Coronal ejection, a mass ejection. That's what it is.
Actually,
But I wonder if they do that, if they can somehow if it can simulate that or something, like you could draw them away from someplace.
yeah. Also, I don't think they're united against tribbles. I think Gorn probably straight up eat tribbles. They probably love them. They're like, this is a very quick regenerating food supply.
Or they could just put their babies in there.
Oh,
I mean, if they had-
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
it would be
no.
horrible. Gorn tribbles.
Cannibalistic tribbles.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Uh.
fast. Oh, that's interesting. On Fasolor, Gorn and Romulans had plasma torpedo war, or maybe that was the Tholians and Romulans. So, do we know? Oh, never mind. I was just like, there's so many different adaptations or versions of the Gorn now. We've got the one from Enterprise, the one from TOS. This one, I want to say there's another one at some point, but maybe I'm not.
I know they appear on lower decks, but I don't know. That
They're
that,
just
like,
drawn
their
like,
own interpretation.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they're in the TAS in like one frame too, so they look just like the one on the planet that Kirk fought. Yeah.
Do you think anybody's still singing the songs like the actual
Just
crew
humming
or
to
like
themselves?
yeah? You know, as I say, when Chapel's like getting ready to go to the fellowship, you think she's just like singing her little solo number to herself a little bit?
Her little breakup number?
Yeah, getting all jazzed up.
No, because Uhura freaked everyone out by continuing to sing last week.
That's fair. That's the other question. How long do you think it is between that moment and the next time someone like actually sings?
It actually decides to stay.
Never again. Until Kirk.
See you guys.
See ya.
See it.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
could
guess,
just see like when Charlie X takes over the communication thing. I could see some lieutenant or oh god, is that happening again? You know, like, please no.
Did anyone have any like last minute thoughts on the episode before?
I thought it was awesome.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
So very happy, sad that that we had to wait for so long.
I know
feel
that
like
people are complaining about that, but it's like you never lived in like the time when Star Trek was originally on during TNG and they had cliffhangers, did you? No, okay.
No, well,
not you, but I'm just saying in general, there are people who are really complaining about it and like.
Yeah, but usually it'd be done in like May. You know it's coming back in September.
That's true. Yeah. Well, we have a different
I
issue
think
right
that-
now just because of the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actor's strike.
Listen, I'm not.
Strike.
I said it's a happy, sad. Like
Oh, yeah.
I'm
No,
totally
no.
understanding of why it is happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the sadness
was a
is just
good-
that I want to know.
The fact that it was done well, at least. It wasn't one that let me. I mean, I want to know what happens next, but I don't feel like I was cheated out of a scene or something like that.
No, it's not that. It was like my no was more to do with the fact that I was like, oh, because like some assholes aren't wanting to pay people, we're gonna have to wait a long much longer.
Yeah.
Like it also just by modern TV standards compared to like old TV standards, we would have to wait longer anyways, and we're gonna have to wait even longer.
Right.
And it is not the actors or writers' fault. That's
Yeah.
but I also feel like I'm now remembering that someone once when I said that I wasn't watching TNG during the when that cliffhanger originally aired, people were like, they're like, you weren't surprised. That's first off impossible for me to have
it
been
was like
watching
that was
TNG at that time.
1991, right?
Yeah, I wasn't born.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh no, is this my punishment for telling people that? That I get this one now.
Maybe we can have the actors just reenact it like the Enterpriseians would, from Prodigy. You put on plays.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. They didn't say they could do stage plays.
I'm betting those actors are glad that this episode hadn't aired yet, they wouldn't have been able to talk about it during during
now they have
Vegas.
built-in reason not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Here's what we do. They should just make everybody happy by get the studio should come back and give them all the money. And then, as a thank you to the fans, they order a full 22 episode season.
I like that idea.
I didn't think anybody would be really against it.
Also, bring
It's never going to happen. It's great.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Or just create a new Star Trek network where it's just Star Trek.
And give us some more short treks while you're at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it could be spun off as
whether
its own
those
thing.
like animated like cartoons they're making are those considered short treks? I have no idea.
No, they're
so.
short. They're almost like commercials in some ways. Like they call them promos or something like that. So I think they're like 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know.
Hire therapists for the shareholders.
Oh, now I'm out of focus. That's fun.
I was going to say something, but I figured maybe you'd come back in focus.
No, I don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous.
Jumping.
I think it needs a factory reset. There's a firmware update. That's what's happening.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
That actually makes the most sense about as I keep watching your camera go crazy. But yeah,
something
or
with the codec or something. Probably.
You know what? The shareholders have enough goddamn money and can hire their own goddamn therapist.
I feel like those people probably already have therapists. Most of them.
Yeah.
No, all the people that should have therapists usually don't.
No, that's true.
That's fair. And I feel like there's probably at least one or two shareholders that are just like, I did not ask for this shit. Like, please stop pissing off Star Trek fans. It makes my job harder. Like,
well, the weird thing is, it's like if you were a shareholder that was like thinking long term, it feels like some of the decisions they're making is just bad because you're going to engender so much anger towards you that they're like,
bad will.
I just don't need bad will. Yeah, exactly. So the next time you accidentally make a mistake that it actually is forgivable, you might not be forgiven because people just had it. At this point.
And it's like one of the things I was like
when they accidentally took DS9 or Enterprise season 4 off or whatever it was accidentally for a day, and people like freaked out because they thought it was,
I didn't know about that. Just one season though. That's really weird.
Yeah, it was very weird.
They remember when there was one episode?
Oh yeah, one episode.
There was like one episode of Deep Space Nine missing.
Yes.
And then when people asked, they're like, "We don't have the rights to that." It's just someone asked Irish Stephen Barrett. He was like, "What? What's happening?"
Was it sorry, now I'm fascinated by that because I didn't hear about this. Were the numbers the same? Did it just appear to skip a number, or did all the numbers get shifted? It appeared to
skip a number. It skipped. The funny thing is, it was duet. So like, it was like an episode everyone loved. It was just a technical glitch.
My favorite episode.
To be.
Wait, duet's the one with Galmer Sec, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's probably my favorite DS9 episode.
And then it turned out to be a technical glitch. And of course, the social media person at first just did their standard like thing. And then we were like, why is it one episode? And then they like went to like look to be like, oh, that's a different thing.
Left hand doesn't know what the right hand's dealing with.
Yeah. They didn't know what they were talking about. Social media, the underpaid social media person. But yeah, it turned out to be some technical glitch, and it went back up.
Did you ever figure out what the eye was in the Deep Space Nine poster?
No, I have no idea what that goddamn eye is.
What?
I don't.
Okay, there's.
Oh my god!
Is it still there? I think it's gone now, right?
I think on my. Where's my?
Do you mean on Paramount Plus? Like it's just an eye?
Yeah, there's like when you go into the
I think I only saw this when I don't actually have Paramount Plus on my phone because I never watched like Paramount like. If I'm going to,
it was on the Apple TV app.
Okay,
I saw it there.
But when I show it, there's like a weird eye in the sky behind Cisco.
Yeah. So there's this nebula and all this stuff, and it's just like then there's like one.
I don't know if it showed up if I just open Paramount Plus here, like on my computer.
I'm wondering if somebody like took a stock image or something like that, and they liked the nebula but just didn't paint out the other part of it or something. That's my guess. But we've asked people, like I asked John Van Sitters, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he said, no idea. He did that. He literally said, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, are you being coy or do you not know? I'm like, okay, thanks. That's helpful. Like, I think he turned it into a mystery that didn't need to be a mystery.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about it, so mission accomplished.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, so as far as I know, I discovered it. Like, I was just like watching Deep Space Nine and was like, wait, what the fuck is that?
Let me see if I can find it. I know I took a screenshot of it once.
Okay, because I'm on I'm on Paramount Plus and I don't see it there.
Yeah.
So it's not when you open the computer; it's a different background image. Okay, I will be.
It has Cisco.
My iPad is charging on the coffee table. It's in this room, just not reaching distance from where I am right now. So I will return.
Okay.
Don't tell the dog the squeaky toy is here.
Rachel will return after these messages.
Thomas, the toy's right there.
We could remind people that this weekend in the Patreon, our patron Discord, they're going to be a watch along of 2 animated Star Trek episodes. So if you're a patron, you can check that out. Let's see.
I
It's
forgot 'em.
the Enterpriseian episode, that, and I forget the other. What was? Do we know what the 2 episodes that we're watching on the Discord are? I was trying to plug
One's
that.
definitely that. I feel like, is it the Deep Space Nine episode of Lower Decks?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Let me.
I'll see if I can. I'm sure I
See
saved
if
this image. Everybody loves hearing us search for things. Maybe we should do this for next time.
Also, I could hear. Well, I still have the headphones on, so I can hear you ratting me out to Thomas. And then
I knew.
he's fucking sitting on the toy.
I knew the situation.
Oh, god damn it. This fucking app. I've typed the word Deep Space in there, it's just nothing's loading. I know you have a show called Deep Space Nine on this goddamn app.
I'll say I just added it to my list as a format.
If you want to keep talking, I can grab my iPad and see if I can find it.
Sure.
Yeah. On an iPad search.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Here's Fatherese. That's right. Here all trust nothing and all the world's a stage are the 2 episodes that'll be in the Patreon watch party this weekend.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah. They usually are. I confirmed on iPad. Yeah. Awkward. See, I'm trying to bring it up on mine so I can like show audience members because it's weird. There it is. Okay. RC, can you see? Whose eye is that?
Put your screen as full screen over us. That way you.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you're not, like, order of the.
There we go.
Right behind
There.
Cisco's shoulder. It also the nose is also weird, which makes me think maybe it's Quark. But
I'm going with Gul Dukat.
Yeah, I wondered if at first if it was like somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that was the other thing. JVC said it's the eye of the prophets. Like,
Yeah. I also, as we pointed out to someone, it's still there, which I honestly
because that's live,
what I
right?
thought would happen.
Yeah,
that's just like I opened my iPad, and went to Paramount Plus. Like,
well, the first
the
thing that I ended up doing
was also a good guess.
There you go. Yeah. I think that's how I started doing animated series stuff. Is like I went on and they had their picture of all the characters, and there was Chekhov, who wasn't on the show, so it was like a fan drawing, and a green Uhura. I'm like, what is going on? It's like, so I sent a message like, your new show's coming out soon. That was Discovery. And like, maybe you want to fix this. I'm like, oh, can you do that? Our designer's out for 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how it started.
Fascinating.
That's a nice way to like get in with everyone.
Yeah. I didn't get paid for it.
I was like, never like rolling up and saying, "Hey, fix your stuff."
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was nice about it.
Get your shit together.
Yeah. At that point, I think I'd done a couple comic book covers already. So I did one. So they at least had some they had some
Illuminati.
I have the prophets looking down on the emissary. Yep.
Yeah.
That was
a great TikTok that I did because all the comments were just so good of trying to guess what it was. But yeah, that was it. I was just watching. Though that would have been a good Larry Nemechek at one point did a caption contest. I would love the caption contest. Just whose eye is that? Like
we should do that for next week's tweets. Like if you put it out on your thing, just like tell us what the eye is. And we'll say the best ones next week during our wrap up.
Put the eye in team by telling us.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a good. Okay, I know. We basically. I love that we've gone off the rails and we're just like, I don't know. Let's talk about the weird. We're still talking about Star Trek. It could be worse. There's the one way we kept talking about Bewitched and Andrew Virginie.
It's really strange though. I feel like we actually had more to say about the 4 minutes of Prodigy than we have about this episode. I don't know why. This was a very straightforward episode, which I thought was good.
I think that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, there wasn't any big real mysteries. There wasn't.
I don't, Father, that is a very good. When I went back,
Oh.
the display names are just gone.
It keeps. I noticed that last time I was on too. Is I've noticed at least it seems that anytime a comment is up, the display names disappear.
Oh, that's right.
But it's still weird,
But
isn't it?
they're
Like,
also
yeah.
gone.
There they are.
Oh, that is interesting.
yeah. I guess they're not expecting you to have comments up for
It's
super
Thomas.
long.
Actually, you're right. Thomas stole our names.
Until the toy is returned.
There are a million other toys that are not as loud as this.
I forgot.
thing.
I forgot they were the Gorn homogeny until this episode. Like until after the episode, I was like, why is it titled homogeny? And then I looked up, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Actually,
Yeah, I was literally almost going to ask something
before...
that the classy fellow one said. Like I was say, what kind of like going forward, what do we want to see out of the characters out of this?
I want to see more Tegas in general.
I want to make sure that Patel is alive.
Yes,
that's all the plans we have for her right now. Is just live.
I would love a relevant flashback episode for oh gosh, why am I blanking on her name all of a sudden? The new engineer.
Oh, Pelia?
Pelia.
Yeah, I would love to
I
see
want I want to see Pelia and Amanda.
Oh,
yeah.
Together.
Spock's mom. Yeah.
Yeah, have we seen? Yeah, we did see Spock's mom. What am I thinking about? She was in Charades.
Yeah.
I'll say, but I guess
when he was a little kid, I guess then
we're not going to see Sarek again, are we? Right? Like, there's not really any. I'm trying to think, because doesn't Spock say he hasn't seen his father in years?
It would be hard.
Yeah,
it would be hard. I want it because I really enjoy that actor.
Oh yeah, he's so
James
great.
Fran.
Yeah, he was in one of my favorite. He was in one of my favorite terrible shows.
Oh, is it the superhero show from NBC?
2011's The Cape.
Yeah. That was an interesting show.
10 episodes, and its biggest contribution to pop culture is Community referencing it. That's where 6 seasons in a movie came from. Because Jeff says it'll be canceled in 4 weeks, and he goes 6 seasons in a movie. Yeah. So anyway, anyway, I've loved him ever since that show. Everything I've seen him in.
Does anyone want the first reaction crew to do a season 3 wrap up next stream? Do you want us to do a season wrap up? That'll be fun.
I mean, I can. That's definitely a thing I can do.
I'm just joking about how we went off the rails.
Wait, season 3.
Yeah, and I also want Lon to be alive because as the season goes up, I think.
Yeah, what is the season 3 wrap up? What's
season 3 of you guys doing these streams?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. I don't really know the whole.
I
don't know all the lore.
Typo and Fathery met season 2.
Unless
Fathery's been hiding season.
Does he have another season under his mattress or something?
Oh, this is true.
Yeah,
I think they specifically
I was going to say
they haven't spoken as father and son.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I'd be okay with if it's an episode where Spock isn't there, like he's off doing something.
Or
I just
they're both on the
James
ship and never cross paths. That's also possible. Where it's like, don't you want to see your father? No, that's the end of that.
Yeah, James Fran. I also loved him in Orphan Black, and he's in a movie that you should watch Orphan Black. And in a movie that I love, and it is kind of wild, called Where the Heart Is, and a woman fully gives birth in a Walmart. In that movie. And
he is part of the movie, or is that just part of it?
Just part of it. The beginning of the plot. You're watching that. You're mostly watching that lady raise that baby.
Oh, okay.
And it's Natalie Portman, and I forgot about Tron Legacy. A
lot of people do.
And he has wild curly hair in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, he's got like a full look going on.
Isn't his natural hair does that? I think it seems.
I think
I've seen him.
I think it is somewhat curly, and then this was just like they let it go. They were like, let's fully embrace it.
I covered
anyways,
the
I
Tron
like James
Legacy
Fran,
stuff
and I want him to return.
Billion pictures of him somewhere. So
yeah,
I'll say his picture on Wikipedia is fairly curly.
Yeah. I would say
I ended up getting Bruce Boxliner's like little card that he puts out for
I forgot he was on Gotham.
I forgot about Gotham. Period.
Everyone,
again,
I
we're
feel-
better off.
I feel like everyone is just like, yeah, I feel like every actor, it's like they were on Gotham. Alexander Stick was on Gotham. All of a sudden, the show remembered that Raj Al Ghul isn't white, so that's at least one thing where Gotham is going for it.
That's good. Well, I need to get my cat fed. She is.
Someone else remembers
driving me
Where
a
the
little
Heart
crazy.
Is, a movie that I love, and someone was like, "Do you recommend it?" And I said, "Yes, but also I feel like you'll judge me if I do."
Also, I believe you, but my cat has to be fed. Sounds like something you would say to get out of a situation.
No,
I can't come out tonight. My cat's got to get fed.
and like,
Yeah.
see, I'm out of focus. It's
Out
just
of
like
focus.
I can't concentrate. No.
Gotta. Okay, yeah, I think it's
Oh man, it's
8:32.
getting
It's
real.
getting worse. Like, what is
Yeah,
happening?
you look like we're trying to hide your identity for like you're about to like drop a reel. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
never to
sense.
protect this
Oh,
fan's
God.
identity. We have blurred his.
And also, my face
Yeah.
is getting like redder and redder somehow. Like the color.
This
of the
camera
light
has
is
some
changing.
issues. It needs that.
Yeah, it
factory
does.
reset.
I
Maybe
think
some
it's
more
time
April.
for
I
that
would like to
factory
see
reset.
April like getting him like beyond the just crabby, admiral.
Admiral
Stages. He's
thing.
yeah.
Because
he doesn't
April's also
seem-
the former captain of the Enterprise, right?
Yep.
Canonically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So I was gonna say something where he. There we go. All right. So a bunch of people get trapped somewhere doing something, and it's a
Pike,
buddy
Kirk,
cop.
and April.
No. I was gonna
Oh.
say it leaves April, Ortegas, and Battelle to run the Enterprise and save them.
And then Sarek can come because Spock's not there.
And Sarah can go. Yeah, there we go. We're
Yeah.
once the strike's over, I'll write this up. I'll become a part of the WGAA, and I'm sure they're not that far into season 3, right? They have to have some slots open still.
Well,
They
they're going to do
just
those
said-
22
I don't
episodes, remember?
Right, you're right.
I
They
don't-
need
yeah.
they need our help now.
They're contractually obligated to do that because we mentioned it on a podcast. So, yeah. I think that's the law, right?
We need someone to reopen that writer submission that they used to have for Star Trek in the 90s.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing I do. That's unfortunate about moving. Well, I mean, there's a couple things, but like that's one of the big things unfortunate about the moving to the 10-episode season is it feels like you're kind of locked in before the season starts. There's not really a lot of like pitch opportunities.
Or
Yeah.
Stranger
somebody's
Worlds feels like it could be a show where they could do that because a lot of it is so standalone. But
And TNG was the kind of show that if they actually could reflect what people were thinking in the audience because they were still shooting stuff as it was coming out
yeah,
at times. So
Mhm.
they could like pivot and like, okay, everybody loves Ro or bringing Ro back or whatever.
yeah. So
Or
so we have to return to the
was
bygone
suspicious
era of longer, cheaper shows.
Everyone was convinced Eddington was a changeling, so they're like, "We'll do something else sneaky with him."
Was that actually the plan? Was the plan to make him a changeling, and then the fans got it?
I don't think so. I don't think the plan was ever to make him a changeling. That's what I've heard.
Eddington,
that people were
Oh, anything.
people were convinced Eddington was a
Cisco's one
changeling.
nemesis.
Yes.
Everyone was convinced Eddington was a changeling because of when he showed up, and so they're like, and everyone was suspicious of him, so they made him a Maquis instead.
Mm.
That's what I've heard.
It sounds
I don't know
plausible.
the quote on that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like what I always heard. I was like, that does sound plausible. Are
Father,
we
he couldn't
so
tell
hard
us
to tell
apart.
apart,
Oh, no.
Father? Father now has no idea who we are.
Father, he has
I'm
that
protecting my
that
identity, it
that
doesn't
face
matter.
blindness
Yeah.
syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Archie and I both have glasses on. How could you possibly tell? It's not like mine are like.
And we're
pink.
dark haired.
Yeah.
I'll put on my mobile emitter.
Okay. I think we're ready to wrap up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've
Yeah.
been off the
chaos.
rails
For a while now. Yes.
Yeah. Might as well be. People are
There's
watching.
3 people in the audience now, and it's running in the
There are
background while they're
10
making
somehow.
dinner.
10 people watching this nonsense. I think that's what's the funny part.
That's pretty impressive.
Okay, does anyone have anything they want to plug before we head out?
My new comic book cover for the Star Trek Echoes is coming out this week. Due to the retailer incentive.
So I should go to my local comic shop and pick it up.
If they ordered enough, I think it's like what is it? You have to order 10 issues of the regular to get. I think it's something like that.
Well, I'll try to get over to my local comic store. What did you say? Came out this week or comes out next week?
I think it came out this week.
Okay.
Trek Movie has an article on that too. You can find it there.
Maybe I'll call. I have a couple local comic shops. Maybe I'll give them a call and see if anybody has one.
Cool.
They're pretty far
I was
away, so I
supposed
don't
to
want to
get-
just like I can't just like show up there. That will take me like an hour each way.
I just realized I was supposed to get
Oh,
comps of it. I could have shown it to you, but I didn't get anything. Or it's gone to my last address, which they did 4 times in a row, even though I've changed my address every time. with
Just
them.
hold up and we'll add it in post.
Yeah, there you go. I have a mock-up actually where I do that, where I just composite it in when I'm, working on it, so I can see what it would look like in somebody's hand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
That's
We
fun.
we're slap happy. Yes, we do. It feels like it's
You wanna send
Friday.
me a
and it's
margarita?
not.
I know. I
God,
think
it does
that's
feel
the
like it's
problem. Is
Friday.
I want it to be Friday, and I know it's not, and that's sad.
Fry yay. I work in a corporate office. It's infectious, frankly.
Same.
Thank you all very much for having me on and letting
Yeah.
me contribute to this, and hopefully not taking us too off the rails or bringing too much nonsense.
No, the correct amount of nonsense. I feel like.
That's always my goal.
I guess plugging wise, RC and I are both on a podcast called Massive Mayhem.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're on the actual play podcast I'm on. That's
Yeah.
What I
We
was
play
going to say
Mutants
how
and
I know
Masterminds
RC.
third edition, a superhero RPG, and sometimes
Cool.
we've every once in a while we've dabbled into very rarely. It's something we want to do more is to dabble into other games like
Star Trek Adventures.
Star Trek Adventures or Avatar Legends. I got the Kickstarter.
We're both intimidated by how different the play of structure of Star Trek Adventures is. I think
Yeah,
that's the
I
problem.
tried.
Watch Shield of Tomorrow.
I
Star
did a
Trek
little bit. I
you
need
did-
to. I need to watch it.
Yeah,
It's
I
been a
need to
while.
watch
I'll watch
more
it
of it.
again. I also think I want to get Foundry VTT set up. I think just having something that will handle all the dice might remove some of the
Mhm.
grease at the wheels a little bit there. Oh man, I sent him
have
running.
for-
Oh.
For the Star Trek, somebody made this for me. It's for the dice.
Oh,
It's
I
like a
love that.
tricorder.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, Rachel. And I,
Somewhere,
Now I need to
Rachel, and I
play.
bought, Rachel and I bought some of these at the convention
Yeah.
we just went to.
Nice.
not
Maybe we
the
should all
one we were
play.
just at. I would love that.
Yes,
They,
not. I was just at Gen Con, which is in
cool.
Indiana, and then
Yep.
Rachel and I
and
back in June were at Origins game conference. in,
I did.
Columbus.
I wore my Janeway cosplay for one day at Origins, and I stopped by the Star Trek, the Morbius booth, and they took a picture of me
yeah.
because they're like, "Someone in cosplay looking at the Star Trek Adventure stuff."
I did have two great
I-
Star Trek moments at Gen Con. One where I just walked by
Yeah.
someone and did the salute because they were in a uniform and that they get
Yeah.
all smiley about it. And then another person who I just went, Temporal Affairs is going to be on your ass.
I would say a nice moment from Vegas is the very sweet bachelorette party I ran into the bathroom. Where I told some
There's
ladies
two ways
I've
that
been
can
like
go.
told,
Sometimes it's great,
Okay.
sometimes it's not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fully in cosplay, and I run into these two women. They're a little drunk. They're at a bachelorette party in a Vegas casino. Of course they are. And I was like, "Oh, you look nice." And the bride just is in the stall and pops out to go, "That's my mother-in-law, sister-in-law. Aren't they so pretty?" And then she looks at me. She's like, "You're here for the convention, right?" And I go, "Oh yeah." And then she goes, "Live long and prosper." And I was like, "Okay, good egg. You're I like you." Thomas is
That's
not
cool.
again. Thomas, that's Thomas's
All the
last
pets are
thoughts about the
rebelling.
episode. Yeah. He thought the Gorn were scary, I think is the thing.
They
Or he was
are.
annoyed
He's
that I
right.
wasn't-
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
There was
he
a lot of,
annoyed that I was watching
like
an
you're on the
episode
edge
and
of your
not
seat
paying
sort of thing.
attention to him.
I'm just saying, Star Trek is one of those shows where it is not uncommon, but it is definitely less common that your enemy will try to eat you.
True.
It's not a zero, but it's normally it's we will do diplomacy or we're gonna blow each other up. There's not usually I'm gonna eat you. It's just,
Well,
it's not
and
a
Star Trek also just itself is not necessarily scary. I mean, little kids get scared about certain things, or you remember growing up
Yeah.
but
Borg.
objectively, just watching it, sort of oh, okay, that's you don't expect to be holy crap, that thing's terrifying.
Thomas wouldn't do well against the
Yeah.
Gorn. No, Thomas would be great. He'd be fine.
Thomas.
So cool. Oh,
Well, Thomas didn't understand some stuffed animals are not for Thomas.
oh no.
So I might
Something
need a
wrong with that?
replacement for my cosplay.
Oh.
Thomas, no. That dog
might be
doesn't
too late.
squeak. Here, take your squeaky toy back.
I think that's that's probably a good
Yeah.
note,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Good place to end it.
Yeah. So make sure to tune in tomorrow for Fathery and Dave and the more
Much more
in-depth
organized
conversation. More organized, less chaotic, less squeaky toys, hopefully. All right. And so everyone, I guess, live long and prosper, y'all.
Live long and prosper.